Welcome, fellow travelers, through the annals of time to Alternatify. Here we delve into the tantalizing realm of what-if scenarios, where a single altered moment can reshape the very fabric of history. Today, we embark on a profound journey. Our core question is simple yet monumental. What if World War I, the cataclysm that defined the 20th century, never happened? Specifically, what if the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the spark that ignited the powder keg, had been averted? Our focus will be on the potential survival and radical transformation of Austria-Hungary. We will explore its profound global consequences, tracing the ripple effects across continents and through generations. Prepare to imagine a world fundamentally different from our own. Europe in 1914 was a continent teetering on the brink, a true powder keg of tensions. Nationalism simmered, imperial ambitions clashed, and a complex web of alliances created a precarious balance. Every major power held its breath, knowing a single misstep could unleash chaos. Austria-Hungary, the dual monarchy, was a microcosm of these tensions. It was a vast, diverse empire, home to a multitude of ethnic groups. Simmering ethnic discontent, particularly among its Slavic populations, threatened to tear it apart from within. Historically, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo was the undeniable catalyst. It triggered the alliance system, pulling nation after nation into a global conflict. This single act plunged the world into an unprecedented war. But what if that fateful day unfolded differently? Our what-if scenario imagines the assassination attempt fails. Perhaps the Archduke's security is tighter, or the assassin's aim is off, and he survives the attack. In this alternate immediate aftermath, intense diplomatic pressure would undoubtedly fall on Serbia. There might be limited military action, perhaps a punitive strike, but the major European powers, lacking a clear casus belli for total war, would de-escalate. The dominoes would not fall. The most immediate and profound consequence of WWI's absence is the continued existence of Austria-Hungary. This ancient empire, often seen as an anachronism, would be granted a reprieve, a chance to adapt and evolve. Its survival would fundamentally alter the geopolitical landscape. One plausible path for its evolution is gradual transformation into a federalized state. This would involve granting greater autonomy and rights to its diverse ethnic groups. Regions like Bohemia, Galicia, and Croatia could gain significant self-governance, easing internal pressures. A more radical yet equally compelling shift could be towards a genuine democratization. This would entail a constitutional monarchy with a strong representative parliament and universal suffrage. Such reforms could channel nationalist energies into political participation rather than secession. The key to Austria-Hungary's adaptation would be its ability to recognize changing times. It would need to embrace the principle of self-determination, at least internally, and foster a multi-ethnic identity. This would be a delicate balancing act, but one now possible without the external pressures of war. However, internal challenges would persist. Navigating the deep-seated nationalism of various groups would remain a monumental task. Desires for full independence would not vanish overnight, and economic disparities within the empire would continue to fuel discontent. The empire would still be a work in progress, but one with a future. The absence of World War I means no Treaty of Versailles. This punitive peace treaty, imposed on Germany, sowed the seeds of resentment and economic hardship. Without it, the conditions that allowed for the rise of Nazism and the subsequent horrors of World War II might never materialize. The impact on communism would be equally profound. The immense strain of the Great War on the Russian Empire was a primary driver of the Bolshevik Revolution. Without WWI, the Russian Revolution might be averted entirely or significantly delayed, preventing the global spread of communism as we know it. Technological development would also take a different trajectory. The immense resources poured into military innovation during WWI would be redirected. This could lead to slower advancements in weaponry, but potentially accelerate progress in civilian technologies, shaping a different industrial landscape. The global balance of power would be fundamentally altered. The United States, without the impetus of two world wars, would likely play a less dominant global role. Conversely, the British Empire, unburdened by the immense costs of war, might retain more influence for a longer period. The British Empire in this alternate timeline would likely maintain its global dominance for a longer duration. Without the financial and human drain of the Great War, its imperial power would erode more slowly. This would lead to a more gradual and perhaps less violent decolonization process, stretching over many more decades. The United States would remain more isolationist, focusing on internal development and hemispheric affairs. Its economic growth would continue, but its emergence as a global superpower would be delayed. Its cultural and political influence on the world stage would evolve at a different pace. The fate of the Soviet Union as we know it would be entirely different. The Tsarist regime might survive, evolving into a constitutional monarchy, or a more moderate democratic Russia could emerge. This fundamentally alters the entire Cold War paradigm, or prevents it from ever occurring. Germany, spared the humiliation and economic devastation of Versailles, would remain a more stable democracy. The extreme ideologies that capitalized on post-war despair would find less fertile ground. The rise of Nazism and the horrors of World War II would be averted, allowing Germany to develop peacefully. The Middle East would also experience a distinct political landscape. The Ottoman Empire, which collapsed after WWI, might survive in some form or evolve differently. Its dissolution into mandates and new states, a direct consequence of the war, would not occur as it did, leading to a very different regional order. Technology and innovation would follow a divergent path. Without the urgent demands of total war, research and development would emphasize civilian applications. Advances in medicine, transportation and communication might occur differently, perhaps even faster in some areas without the destructive focus of conflict. The most profound benefit of WWI's absence is the sheer number of lives spared. Millions of soldiers and civilians who perished in the trenches and on the home front would live. The widespread physical and emotional trauma that scarred a generation would be largely avoided. Humanity's collective resources would be directed towards building a better world rather than destruction and conflict. Imagine the scientific breakthroughs, the artistic movements, and the social progress that could have flourished without the immense drain of war. Progress would be redefined. Social and political development would have a greater chance to flourish. The rise of totalitarian regimes, often a reaction to the chaos and disillusionment of war, might be averted. Democracy and liberal values could have taken deeper root across Europe and beyond. Finally, a world without WWI would retain a greater sense of hope and optimism. It would be less scarred by the cynicism and despair that followed the Great War. Faith in progress, in diplomacy, and in the future of humanity would remain largely intact. The legacy of a missed bullet, or an averted assassination, highlights the profound fragility of peace. It underscores the inherent dangers of unchecked nationalism and the critical importance of robust, proactive diplomacy. History is a delicate balance, easily tipped. This thought experiment emphasizes that history is not predetermined. It is a fluid, dynamic process, shaped by countless choices and unforeseen events. A single moment, a single decision, can send ripples across centuries, altering the destiny of nations. We invite you to ponder this alternate reality. What other ripple effects can you imagine? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video if you found this journey intriguing, and subscribe for more explorations into the what if of history. Join us next time as we continue to challenge the past